Greetings, blessed love, and a royal welcome to my channel. This is I Am Life and Light Productions, and Just Sparks. I am your host. Today's topic of discussion is a man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And that in itself has some very special significance in creation. Because today you see everyone is so caught up in what they're eating. You know what I'm saying? Everyone want to eat healthy, live healthy, be healthy. And, they have so much concerns about the foods, whether you should be vegan or whether you should be able to eat meat or whatever you want to eat, whatever it may be, But this parable is a parable of great significance because it tells it all. A man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. You see it? So when you check this now, you want to ask yourself now, what is the mouth of God? You see it? A lot say the Bible. You see it? But within the Bible, there is a lot of things spoken of, but everything is not written in the Bible. You see it? And especially nowadays where the Bible that we have access to only have 66 books and the original Bible have 87 books or maybe even more. For 87 is recorded in the Ethiopian Bible. You see it? So there is basically 21 books that are not in circulation with the Bible itself. You see it? Now these 21 books are of great significance also. You see it? In explaining the full truth. You see it? So, a man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. And as it is written, is not what a man eateth that defileth him, for what he eat goeth into his mouth, down into his stomach, and out through his draught, purging all meat. What defiles a man is what cometh from his mouth, for it cometh from his heart. Same things, what makes a man is what cometh from his mouth, for it cometh from his heart. You see it? So these things here I want to make reference to in my discussion today, because I think that the whole world is being led astray, and the reason for this is because of the concept that was given to us by Vatican, Babylon, whoever you want to call them, the rulers of this world, right? The rulers of the system, and their concept shows us totally off of true creation, what creation really is, what life really is. Most of I and I today have the concept of Christianity from a Western point of view, which is incorrect. Is right? Christianity is no way formed or established in the West. Yes, right? For when you check history on Christianity and you see the Roman Empire rise up with Constantine and them to come edit the Bible, so-called rewrite the Bible, but it's not really rewriting, but removing, key points within the Bible, key stories that will lead one to truth, So they removed 21 books, bringing it to 66. And when you read those 66 books, if you do not have knowledge of the other 21 books, it will be hard for you to come to the true conclusion or to the true concept of what the Bible really is. Now, Christianity, as I say, is not a Western concept and is not what the Western world say it is. True Christianity is voodoo. True Christianity is juju. True Christianity is obia, the working of magic. You see? That's why today, when you hear we talk about faith or you hear faith is mentioned and these things, people quickly shove it off. Because they say, hey, we're working at faith. Faith, what faith going to do? You have to put your hand to the plow and you have to, you know what I'm saying, tangibly touch things and move it and make things happen. You see it? When faith speaks of a process, you know what I'm saying, where you don't use physical, means to bring what you want into manifestation, and to the minds of the Western world with the concept of Babylon that is so far-fetched that it is thrown into the garbage, just as someone here the thought of it. But over here in the East, especially here in Africa, you know what I'm saying, when you study the history and you realize that Christianity is actually African spirituality. You see it? In its truest essence. You see it? The calling forth and invoking. That is Christianity. And it's spoken all through the Bible. You see it? But because we have a conditioned mindset, we cannot see it. Because anything seems magical, we throw it off as superstition. I know it can't be. With all the things them that happen in the Bible, a lot of magical things in the Bible, it's thrown off as, oh, it can't be. Everything is flesh tangible, which is the first fall of man. You see it? When we forgotten that which is spiritual and we took heed to that which is sensual, which is fleshly. You see it? And that was the fall of man. That was the fall of Adam. You see it? So now, a man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. We have to find out who is God. You see it? First and foremost, God is I and I. We are God. You see it? So, a man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. You see it? Her mouth. Right? So, the word that you're speaking, you're supposed to be able to live by those words. You see it? To the point that you don't need food. You don't need physical things to keep you and sustain your life. Because life itself is the word. You see it? And that word is that light that is in every man. And that is the life of the man, not what he eats. You see it? So, if a man can develop his light within himself efficiently, he will be as Christ spoken of in the Bible, having total control over all the elements and over all the workings of creation, just as his Father in heaven, which in he is. You see it? So now you will be able to tap into your true power, the power of God, which you have within you. And you will be able to manifest things from invisible or unseen into visible or seen. You see it? And this is the true order of creation and how each and every man supposed to be living. And not according to how Babylon set it, that you must get up and you must go work and by the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread. That only came from the fall of man. It's when Adam sinned that came about. Because when Adam sinned, he was given a fleshly body. And when you are given a fleshly body, you have to eat of the earth, of fleshly things in order to sustain it. But before that, Adam had a body of light. For we are light beings. The light within us shined it throughout. And he needed not flesh. But because he desired sensual things and ate of the fruit, which is sensual feelings, sensual emotions, he was transformed from his spiritual full essence into that of what we are today, the flesh. Still having within us that spark, that germ of immortality, of that eternal being. We still have it in us, and we can spark it once again by returning to our rightful concept of self. You see it? So when you read, a man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. A man should be able to live by saying, I am healthy. and be healthy. A man should be able to live by saying, I am filled, and be satisfied and need nothing again. And you learn this through fasting. Because during the fast, when you're fasting, you see, you cannot be thinking about food. You cannot have your meditation on food, else it will rouse your stomach and you will start to get gas and feel sick and all these things. So you have to utilize your thoughts by putting your thoughts to use by thinking either you're reading or your meditation is on something other than food. And when you do that, you realize that you don't have the feeling for food. You don't feel hungry at all, as long as you take your thoughts off of it. And that's where this whole thing lies. Thought. Thought. Our word is our wand. All things are possible through belief in our word, in our thoughts. You see it? For thoughts are alive. They are living beings, which are the word. Same living beings, they are alive. So we have to be very cautious of how we use our words, very cautious of how we're thinking. Because in actuality, by the very thought is how we live in. For whatever we perceive within ourselves to be true, to believe to be real, is what we're living and seeing and what we're experiencing. Everything else that we perceive not to be true and real, we don't experience it. You see it? So when you see the talk about faith and we don't perceive magic to be real, then we would not see the workings of faith. But the workings of faith is what happens every day, because this world is governed by faith, or by what they call destiny. For destiny is faith. It's a power that is within you that is responsible for future events, your future events. You see it? So it's by the ordering of your thoughts, you can bring change. So when you really check this out, people, when you develop your human imagination, which is the light within you, that you can by will create pictures, images, perfect, then you're developing your third eye. You are awakening Christ. You are awakening the light within you, which is your Savior, your Creator. And by perfect use of it, you will be able to bring whatever it is you desire, whatever it is you believe on, into reality. Yes, I. So a man must live by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. For that is how he is living, and not by the food that he's eating. Because it's not the food that makes you sick. It's not the food that is making you unhealthy, people. Please get this in your minds. It's not the food that you all are eating that is making you all healthy. For it is written, that which you bless is good to you. But it's your thoughts, the very thought that you're thinking and the very word that you're speaking, those silent conversations that you're having with yourself in those quiet times, is what is making you sick. Over's what I am saying to the eyes them. Because if you can be healed by a word, you can be sick by a word. You see it? And the herbs and these things are just our helpers. It's basically here to help those who don't have faith. Faith in their word to make themselves whole. Faith in the light within them. So these herbs are here to help us. To show us that, by the use of it, which is the same word, the herb is, we can be healed. But we do not have need for herbs and all these things. As long as we restructure and renew our mind to the right way of thinking, we are unstoppable. You see it? And this is the truth of creation. This is what Babylon is fighting down. You see it? I and I coming back to self. You see it? And finding our true divinity once again. Inside, we need nothing out of ourselves to sustain our life. Life sustains itself. Just like how the birds, they wake up every morning and they go out and they find food and they don't work for no one. They don't gather and store, but yet every day they get meal. So is man. Man is the same way. You go into your mind, into the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you desire in there and hold as you have, you shall have it without and experience it. So there is no need for you to be working for no one. There is no need for you to be a slave of anyone. You see it? Things are totally different this way. The whole world is different. There is no evil in the earth. There is no devil. There is no right and wrong. You see it? It's all concepts. It's all states of mind. And within the different concepts, the different states of mind are the experiences that go along with it. And the different states of mind, if two people have two different states of mind, two different states of mind, the experiences in here and the experiences in this one are totally different. Now, what is true here would not be true here. What is lie here would not be lie here. So that poses another vibes of what is truth and what is lie. For truth is only according to the state of mind that you're in. And if you change state of mind, your truth changes. Same thing with the lie. You see it? And then what is a lie? A lie is another truth to a certain degree. You see it? Yeah, some serious things. This creation is not what they make us believe it to be. We can assume whatever we desire, whatever we want it to be, and it will play out that way. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So this creation that we're living in is bountiful and open. It's full of abundance. Whatever you desire, you can have it. Just through thought, just through the word that you speak. You call it and invoke it upon yourself, and it shall be yours. You see it, my people. Now I want to read something from this book here. It's the 6th and 7th books of Moses. Now these books were also taken out of the Bible. You see? Now they said it was taken out of the Bible because it is a book of necromancy, a book of magic, a book of sorcery. You see it, what they call juju. You see it. So they take it out of the Bible because they say it's not fit for scriptural content. You see? But I will assure you that this and many others, especially the Papyrus Egyptian Book of the Dead, is eye-opening to those that read it. You see it. And whenever you read any of these books, know that they are not religious books. That is the Western world and their concepts. You see? Whenever you read one of these books, read it with an open mind, meaning forgetting all the teachings you was taught about it, and read it as something new, and you're just reading it for the first time. You don't know anything about it, so that when you read it, you will question everything. And when you question everything is when that light in you awakes and starts to give you answers and understandings to the same things that you're reading. But if you're reading it with a closed mindset, which is a religious mindset, which is a mindset, a concept that was given to you, then you will never find the truth. You see it, my people. So I want to read, in here it says part 1. Now see what it says. It says, the magic, if you can see it, the magic of the Israelites, part 1. All right? Very interesting book. Part 1, the magic of the Israelites. The complete and reliable history of human and divine The divine revelations and the influence of godly or pious men are found in the scriptural monuments of the holy Hebrews in the Holy Scriptures. The Bible is justly styled the Holy Scriptures because it contains the knowledge of the saints, while at the same time it unites and harmonizes word and deed, doctrine and action. It points out the true relation of man to the omnipotent. It affords the most direct reference to the great truths of the spiritual and intellectual. It treats of the origin of the universe and its laws, through which all things have to be brought to light. Through the universe, the origin of the universe and its laws is how everything is brought to light. The laws are mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Listen, my people. All right. Now it says here, let me see if I could repeat. It treats of the origin of the universe and its laws, through which all things have to be brought to light, of the anterior and posterior history of mankind, of his future destiny and how to attain it, of the living and visible agents of God employed in the great work of redemption, and finally, of the most exalted of all beings, of the world's Savior, who was an universal expression in his own person, and who exhibited all divine power and action in one person, while all his forerunners were employed only with single powers and perfections. That's the prophets that came before, Moses and Elijah and Enoch and the whole of them, who reveal to fallen man the highest and purest end of his life and the means of his purification and restoration. We find among Oriental nations every grade of magic, the steps necessary to solve the mysteries of somnambulism and second sight, and the infinitely multiplied operations by which unusual occurrences are produced. In like manner, we also find these things amongst the Israelites, but differing totally in character. In the former instance, which is among the Orientals, it is the individual and his presence. In the latter, which is the Israelites, it was not the individual upon which magic depended, but upon mankind in general and upon the great future. Therefore, the light of man was made to shine by skillful actions produced by the lowest art. Here shone a pure, unclouded, quiet life, vitalized by the warm breath of the Almighty, a light shining into the future, and upon this light depended all life and action. To the Israelite seer, not only the fate of single individuals stand revealed, but the fate of nations, yea, of mankind, which in the end must be reconciled to God by the unfolding of magical art, as often happened under the old dispensation, by instinctive somnambulistic influences. If we examine the history of the Old Covenant, we will find that this remarkable people, which is the Israelites, stood solitary and alone like a pillar of fire amidst heathen darkness. Although we find among other nations worthy men who seek after the divine light, surrounded by darkness and uncertainty. Here, with the Israelites, are men of God, bearing the impress of true faith, who give undoubted evidence of higher powers by visible acts and signs which everywhere separate life from death and truth from error. And while the ancient remnant of other nations show only theory without application, here we find a connected chain of act and events. In fact, a divine and lifelike drama. Of all these things, the various books of the scriptures speak with confidence, so that the history of no other people, interwoven with fables, can be compared with them. According to this, the Bible contains the light which illuminates every dark phase in life. It is the groundwork of all human actions, the guiding star of the earthly to the eternal. This reminds me of His Majesty's speech when he said the Bible is eternal. It transcends all boundaries of race and religion and all these things. The message is eternal. You see it. So right here, it has say it here. So this I show you say, in the Ethiopian Bible, these things are still intact. So when you read these things, you get a deeper understanding to what the Bible is. And you're not just feeding off of the concept that Babylon, Vatican gave you. And then now you thinking that is truth and then basing your life off of it, in which you are committing a great error or a great error. You see it, my people. Let me go back and read again. According to this, the Bible contains the light which illuminates every dark phase in life. It is the groundwork of all human actions, the guiding star of the earthly to the eternal, of the intellectual to the divine, the aim and end of all knowledge. It is the first of three lights, guiding and governing our faith, and bears no relation to the other two lights of the angle which shall make these actions lawful, or the circle which centralize the fixed limits of the condition of mankind. The Bible is also more instructive and richer in reference to our subject than all other books taken together. We will therefore cite a few principal points as well as the phenomena as of the mood of action and theory relating to magnetism, and then call attention especially to the healing of the sick according to the scriptural teachings. We give an account of the dreams, a great many of which are recorded in the Bible. Now, after this year, they started to talk about all the different dreams them in the Old Testaments, and some in the New Testaments, and explain that, the Most High, the mighty light, comes to you in dreams, mostly in dreams, and shows you things, and in the time of Christ, it came to you awake. While you are awake, you see open visions. That's why John in Revelation said he saw a vision while awake, an open vision he saw in the heavens. Quite similar to the vision that I saw of the old heaven and the old earth being destroyed. It was an open vision. I sat there and saw. You won't see in your eyes and then you'll see an opening in the sky. No. Your vision is somewhat blurred in a sense. And then you enter into your mind's eye. So though your eyes are open, you are seeing through your mind's eye. And you're seeing the vision that is being shown to you. Yes, right? Now, what I want to speak of, I want to read this here too. This is pertaining to the Garden of Eden. Right? Now, I want to start here Right. I want to start with the creation story explained as according to the sixth and seventh books of Moses. All right, creation story. This is page 30 of the magic of the Israelites. Okay. He's saying, let us begin with the history of the creation as recorded by Moses. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Herein lies the great first cause. God is an uncreated being. Heaven and earth are the first things created. The antithesis, that which was made of God. Now, the reference to the second antithesis, Moses speaks of light and darkness. And darkness was upon the face of the earth. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Here too, the question is about light as a creation, which, however, had for its opposite darkness. Therefore, did the old Egyptians regard darkness as the beginning of all things. Even according to the writings of Moses, this was the Egyptian doctrine. For he says, darkness was upon the face of the deep. But as the Egyptian doctrine in its first inception may be regarded as good authority, their error originated in this: that they accepted the darkness before the light, as also a like error of the Persians, insomuch that they accepted the light before the darkness as being created, the one before the other. The light stands beside darkness as its original opposite, created and present, as Moses plainly says. And God divided the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called light. So here it's telling you that darkness was not created before light, nor was light created before darkness, but darkness and light were created together. They were there together. You see? Within the darkness is light. Just as when you close your eyes, people, I keep telling the eyes them, when you close your eyes, that darkness you see is the ether. And within that darkness is the light. And that light is the light of creation, the sun, the true sun that created the sun that shine upon us. Within the darkness of our mind dwells our true being, which is our light, our sun, our human imagination, Christ. And we be the father of that light. You see it, my people? Now, it says here, right, it says God divided the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called light. So in other words, your day is the faculty within you to create mental pictures. And if you can create those mental pictures within your mind and dwell in your mind with those pictures, then you're dwelling in the day only. And you shall walk in the day and not in the night, which is in darkness, and stumble. We must learn to live by that light that shineth within us. That is Christ. We learn to live by that, which is the living word of God. A man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. And that word that proceedeth out of his mouth is that light that dwelleth within his darkness, which in the darkness and the light are both alike, as written in Psalms 138 or 139. You see? Now it says, the light stands beside darkness as its natural opposite, created and and present, as Moses plainly says. And God divided the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. The Bible also points out another antithesis in the first germ and figures of the earth, namely water and spirit. The water as matter, as the germ of the figurative, and the spirit, the Elohim or the gods, as the fruitful active principle. I want to stop here as me show the eyes them. My first awakening that I had, I think, is in 2004. I had a vision sitting on my couch when I asked the Father to explain to me the meaning of in the beginning. You know, the earth was void and without form, and darkness was upon the waters. Same thing what we are read here. And the Father showed me that, you know what I'm saying, the earth void and without form is the egg within the woman. And the water with the spirit upon it is the sperm of man. You see it? So when you check now and you look back to this, and it tell you that the water as matter, you see it? And as germ of the figurative, and the spirit, the Elohim, as the fruitful active vine. So the Elohim, in other words, is translated as gods. So your sperm is full of gods in it that is traveling upon the water, which is the matter, that is heading for the egg. You see it? Which is the earth void and without form. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, makes sense, you know? Now, it says here now, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, one-sided views led to early philosophers into numerous errors. In this manner, Thales brought everything out of the water and overlooked the spiritual active whole. Yes. No. In all of which he was imitated by subsequent champions of materialism. Now, the other one-sided view is to hold everything as spiritual and regard matter only as an inert abstraction, which was the case from the earliest period of time among spiritualists and the advocates of spiritualism. Moses, therefore, shows his superiority over all the disciples of Egyptian temple wisdom, as well as the more modern sects, insomuch that he was enlightened by divine wisdom and represented this subject not in a partial manner, but in its true being and true bearing and significance. He ascribed to matter its true worth and placed the spiritual beside it. Moreover, Moses has given the narrative of the creation in beautiful and captivating language, as for example, in regard to the waters, the difference between the wet and the dry, and how the dry land came forth from the water, how the grass and herbs which bore seed and fruitful trees grew upon the earth, how the mighty deep was filled with living and moving animals, and the birds that fly in the firmament of heaven, how the earth finally brought forth living animals, each after its own kind, and last of all, how God made man in his own image, to whom he gave dominion over the fishes of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Now, this here is important, this part here. It is the Mosaic Eden was the habitation of the originally purely created beings. And not say being, he said beings, more than one, within whose boundaries grew the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The figure of the serpent shows the nature of the fall of man. We spoke in another part of this work of the original purity and wisdom of godly men. Here in the place to record additional Bible principles. To this end, we avail ourselves of a mystical, interesting manuscript from which we extract what follows: Magican, or the secret system of an association of unknown philosophers, etc. Verse 27 to 31, Frankfurt and Leipzig, 1784. A rare book whose teachings, in many respects, agree with the Indian Brahmin doctrine. In view of his divine origin as an unconditional emanation from God, Adam was not only the noblest being, which, as an expression of divine power, had the preference of all others, for he never owed his existence to a mother. He was a heavenly Adam, brought into being by God himself, and was not born into the world in the original, ordinary manner. He also enjoyed, in consequence of his nature, every prerogative of a pure spirit, surrounded by an invulnerable veil. But this was not the sensual body of the present time, which is only an evidence of his degradation, a coarse mantle by which he sought to protect himself against the raging elements. So what they're saying is that the original body of Adam, the original man, was a body of light. And because Adam desired fleshly things, he received a fleshly body and fell from grace, fell from the glory of light into darkness, into the flesh. It says here, his garments were holy, simple, indestructible, and of an indissoluble character. In this condition of perfect glory, in which he enjoyed the purest happiness, he was destined in order to reveal the power of the Almighty and to rule the visible and invisible. Being in possession of all the prerogatives and insignia of a king, he could also use every means to fulfill his high destiny. As the champion of unity, he was secure from the attack of all inward and outward enemies, because the veil by which he was covered, the germ of which are still within us, rendered him invulnerable. So the light that is still in us, that he was covered with, is rendered him invulnerable. Now it is written that our eye must be single, that our whole body may be full of this light. For if our eye be doubled, our whole body will be full of darkness. So we must learn to enter into our human imagination, which is our third eye, which is our light within, in order to live and survive and have our being, and not in the flesh. We need to stop identifying with the flesh. It says one advantage that the original pure man possessed was that no natural poison nor all the powers of the elements could harm him. Christ promised invulnerability to his apostles and all his followers through the regeneration of man coming forward to your light. Like how they talk about raising your chakras, but it's not about raising your chakras. It's about developing your human imagination, your third eye. Develop it. That is birthing your light, Christ in you. Your chakras are already activated. That's why you're living and experiencing things. Don't follow them. Or follow them if you may. All right. It says, in this condition which Christ brought, which is the promise of invulnerability. In this condition, man also bear a fury, double-edged, all-penetrating sword, a living word, which combines in itself all power, and through which everything is possible to him. Of this sword, Moses says in Genesis 3:24, so he drove out the man, and he placed at the east end of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the tree of life. In Revelation 1:16 we read, and out of his mouth went a two-edged sword, etc. By this sword we are to understand the living word, which is the human imagination, people, which was originally inherent in man. It was alive, it was the light in man, and which can only be restored to him by his return to a pure state, by legoing the concepts and beliefs of Babylon. And by being cleansed from the blood of sensualism of your senses. Stop living with your five senses and turn to your intuitive mind, your human imagination. Go in there for whatever you desire. That is the kingdom of heaven. And once you claim it in there, it's perfect and whole, and you shall have it in your life. I am not telling you what I'm reading. I am living by this. I am living this now. I only speak that which I experience and nothing else. See it? It says, it is the word of which we read in Hebrews 4:12. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than a two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit. So the very word that you speak is the power. It is our wand. It is what we should live by. You see it? And we must seek all the books them that were taken out of the Bible and study them. Like the book of Enoch. We show you how Enoch traveled the heavens. And from he was taken up in the vision. You see it? He didn't eat any more earthly food. You see it? And when he came out of the vision and he come down and was walking with his sons them, he told them he have no desire for any earthly food. Because he was living now by his word. By the light within him that filled his body and made his body full of light. The one eye, the third eye. You see it, my people? You sight? So I do give thanks to the eye them, you know. Go get the book, man. And stop being afraid of juju, voodoo, obia. That is the original Christianity. It is the workings of the arts, because you cannot work faith without magic, for faith is magic. And true Christianity is the workings of the arts, divination. That's what I say to the eyes them. Come home to the motherland. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you go, that's where you belong. So don't be afraid. Don't be doubtful. Wherever your mind is telling you to go, is where your ancestors are from. Don't hesitate. Go there. And then you will be awakened to the truth of your divinity, of who you are. You will reconnect with your people, your family that you have lost for so long. That's why I show the eyes them here in our land. You see it? In the Volta region of Ghana. I am with my people, the Ewe people. And the Ewe people have in their history that they are the same people, the original people from Mesopotamia. When Babylon them come and destroy the temple, the Tower of Babel. Now when you go and you break down the story of the Tower of Babel, and you understand what that story is speaking about, you will realize that it's speaking about a government of people, a government that was ruling over a people in Mesopotamia, and they was being very cruel to the people. You see, now this is in Mesopotamia, where was one of the first advanced civilization, you know, right? And there came a time where they was invaded, and at that time, during that time, the Ewe people was there. And it show you in the story, when you read the story, when you break down the story of, you know, the Tower of Babel, you will realize that the rulers of the day was attacking Nimrod them, who was trying to gather the people together to stand up and fight against the system, against the government. But every time Nimrod them will rise up to fight the government, that the government will come and send and break it down, sending in infiltrators, and they will break down the movement. And then they will build it again to the point that they say, you know what, if we keep these people, they will get big and they will overpower us. So they came and they break it down and cause the people them to scatter, which in the say they scatter them and change their tongue. Now, the Ewe people have it in their history that they are those people that scattered. And they went into Egypt. When they went into Egypt, from Egypt, they went up to Ethiopia, to Sudan first, then to Ethiopia. When to reach to Ethiopia, Ethiopia was under heavy slave raids. They crossed over Africa and they stopped by the Niger Bend, where today you see the remnant of them there is the Dogon tribe, who say they come from the stars. Listen the connection, you know, people. Mesopotamia, where they say the Anunnaki them was, you know. Don't make them fool, you know. You know what I'm saying? These Anunnaki are so-called aliens and not the originators of humanity. They did not create humanity. It's a lie. You see it? And the story is just a story of manifestation, if you read it properly. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, when the Ewe people left from Niger Bend, they came and they settled in Togo, the top of Nigeria, Togo, Benin, and in the Volta region here in Ghana. That is the Ewe people. That is the people of Mesopotamia. The people who study the art of divination, calling forth and invoking the children of God, the true Israelites. And this be the chosen land, Ghana. So if the eyes them is really overseeing and doing the eyes them studies, the eyes them will see this, you know. But until such time, I will do my studies and share with the eyes them. You see it? So I do give thanks to the eyes them joining in. And do remember that a man shall not live by bread alone. You must not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of your mouth. Besides, for every word that proceedeth out of your mouth is God's mouth. Your mouth is God's mouth. Your word is God's word. Your thoughts is God's thoughts. God's thoughts is your thoughts. So when you speak, you're speaking with power. Every word carry power. Every word carrieth life. Believe in the word that you speak, and you will see magic before your very eyes. And then you will realize you don't need man. You don't need to depend on man. You don't need to depend on the system. You know what I'm saying? You have an economic base that never runs dry, never runs empty. And your economic base is your word. Speak it into manifestation, into reality, into flesh. You know, see it. Me tell the eye them, you know. I man put the formula in that money mantra. Money, 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 money belongs to me. Money, money, money in my mind I see. I shake money off of the money tree. Money piles my pocket for my eyes to see. Money is a frequency of thought energy, whose source and power is rooted in me. I control thought, then declare money to be. For it to be, I must believe in me. You see it? Now, that is the formula. Because you have to first have a desire. Your desire is that money belongs to you. Whatever it is your desire. The house belongs to you. It's yours. See it in your mind's eye. Decide, interact with it in your mind. That's why I say I shake the tree and money piles my pocket. I am interacting with the vision. I'm making it real. Because it's a thought frequency. And that power, the source of the power is rooted in me. It's me. I am the source of every power. Everything, I am the source of it. I am the source of everything that happens in my life. You see it? So by controlling my thoughts on that specific desire, believing that I have it, interacting with it, and then speaking the word that I have it, declaring it to become life. Let there be light. It is done. Believing on the power that is in me. Believing on myself and the power in my word. That my word have life to manifest. That my word is God's word. My thoughts are God's thoughts. Is what shall bring it to pass. So believe in yourself, my people. That is the only way for you to overcome. You see it? To overcome this wicked system and realize that there is no wickedness. There is no evil. There is no devil. You see it? You have to completely remove the concept of devil and wickedness and corruption from your mind, which is heaven, so that no evil plays out in your world. For whatever you think in here as real, as existing, is what will be real and exist in your world for you to experience. So cast Satan and the idea and the concept of the devil out of your mind, so that your world will be filled with righteousness and God people and loving people, and there be no poverty and no poor people and no this and that. Remove them out of your mind. It is that simple, my people. Condition your mind, the renewing of your thoughts. Until such time, I do give thanks, and please like, subscribe, and share so that the community may grow. You see it, my people? Yes, until such time. This is I am Life and Light Productions, and I am Just Sparks. I am your host. Peace, love, joy, and prosperity to each and every eye out there. To you and your royal family, I do give thanks for the eyes them tuning in. Until such time, only I am.